Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I am your host, Mr. A.D. Walker, and I appreciate you guys being here this morning. Just had my mic in another space while I wrote some things down. We're going to have an awesome conversation today. Make sure you share. Sharing is caring. Be a part of this broadcast. Good morning, Lisa. Thank you for being here with us. Blessings to you as well. And thank you for sharing. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Um, all of my people that are part of the text community, I appreciate you and thank you for being a part. And if you've not joined our text community and you're watching this, make sure you do so. Join our community. Text LWN to 84576. Text LWN to 84576 and never miss an episode. Always be in the know. Always stay connected. And we appreciate you guys for your support, being here, the financial support. It is definitely appreciated. And if you feel like you've missed an episode and you're like, man, I need to check out some episodes, you don't have to try to find us on YouTube. You can just go to the podcast, any of your podcast apps, and definitely listen and watch us. Make sure you put in the Brothers of Legacy. You will see the symbol right there, and definitely be a part of that. So you don't want to miss any of the episodes. We have a lot of great content that we talk about, from fatherhood to dealing with being a Black man in America, and the realities of it. We have a lot of mental health spots. We talk about money, of course. No, we got to talk about money and things of that nature. So if you missed any of those episodes, feel free to go back, or broadcast. Feel free to go back and check us out, and you will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. We have so many different voices. That's why it's the Brothers of Legacy. We have so many different voices that have been a part of this broadcast, that have helped and dropped some nuggets. So we have a lot of people we're connected to, and we're ever expanding. So I want you guys to be a part. Make sure you are staying connected. Make sure you are sharing. If you like what you see, make sure you share. Make sure you share. It's important that that you share what you like. A lot of times the nonsense seems to rise to the top because everybody loves a good train wreck. And no one wants to see anybody really hurt. But, the accidents, it's always, when you're driving, you wonder why there's traffic and there's an accident, not even on your side, but everybody's slowing down just to see what happened, And a lot of the craziness I've noticed over the lifetime of me being on the internet and watching various platforms, that the craziness rises to the top. There are moments of intellectual gem dropping people that do well, and they navigate and they get known or get seen, but it seems like the crazy rise to the top, to those that say the most poignant or gut punching things in a matter of not caring of feelings or how someone feels about it. And it's amazing how that always, the shock and awe rises to the top. And I get it. We always tend to stay somewhere where the craziness hits us. What's up, E? Good morning, my brother. So we're here to give a positive message. Even if it's not the most positive, it's correcting. We have conversation about it. And we are about growth. We're about change. We're about doing more than the shock and awe. So join the community. Text LWN to 84576. 2, what I want you to do is make sure you share this with somebody. Share this with somebody that you just had a lot of these conversations you're having. But this is your opportunity to come and have them be a part and share their perspective, because sometimes people have different perspectives. And what I want and what I love are people that have a perspective that isn't like everybody else's. And listen, sometimes there's just the stuff in your face like, yeah, we all agree with that. We all agree. But there are just some it's just like, I can't go with that. And this is why, and it opens your eyes, opens your mind, because everybody's life is not the same. Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Cheryl. Everybody's life is not the same. So each one of us has a different perspective on things. Some things are just kind of blatant and you feel like, should we all agree with this? But then it's great to hear those that don't totally agree. Those that don't totally agree. And those are the conversations that help to open your mind, as well as having more of a full perspective on a situation, because some things aren't cut and dry. Some things aren't just black and white. A lot of times, you see the unfortunate killings of our people by the hands of ourselves or even the cops. And you just like, that's straightforward. You see what they did. But sometimes, another perspective, a professional, like when Dwayne's on, he speaks about the police officer's mindset, and he kind of breaks down like, well, based on, what I've seen and based on our training, there's a certain training. If you don't understand the training, then you can't understand the reaction. This is the protocol. This is what we're taught to do. So then you understand the problem isn't always the person. It's the system. It's the protocol. It's the training. It's those things that need to change. But if we don't get that other voice giving a different insight, then we'll never shift our perspective. We'll never understand what another side sees, right? Appreciate that, Eve. So we have to, I invite any and everybody to come on and chat and be in the chat and give their perspective. Even like, I'm telling you, I love it. If you don't agree, that's even better, because with every one person that does not agree, there's at least a group of people that agree with that disagreement, that even if it's a small sector, but these folks have this thought process and we have the conversation here. So one, it opens up our mind, and two, it gives us an opportunity to expound on our perspective. So maybe they'll understand where we're coming from, and maybe we can have dialogue and change things. That's what it's all about. What's up, Keita? Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Mama McCory. Great morning to you. All right. So today we're talking about spliggity splow. And this may be a simple one, but we're going to really dig into who's responsible for our kids. Learning, developing, growing, the parents or the teachers. Because you realize, if you really think about it, it's kind of like work almost. Teachers spend a lot of time with your children. A lot of focused time with your children throughout the life of school. Other than the pandemic, teachers spend a lot of time with your children. And like yesterday, we spoke about the shaping of thoughts or perspective or ideas that are unlike yours. If they spend so much time with the teachers, they can become more of an authority than you. So who's responsible, and how can we be more responsible? So we're going to talk about this. All right. Pass this in the wing. We're going to get into it. Again, I say share, get someone in this conversation, tag a teacher. I got some in mind. I'm going to definitely have on, and we're going to have an even deeper discussion going into the school year, the effects of the pandemic, and students going back, because, it doesn't take long to get into a habit of certain things. And now it's like, I got to get back into the structured mindset of going to school. All right, let's dig into it. We'll be right back.
I didn't want to catch that. Good morning. Welcome to another edition. Good morning. What's up, everybody?
This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. Ready to go live? Go to bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. That's bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. This episode is also brought to you by Self. Build credit now. Go to bit.ly/now build credit. bit.ly/now build credit. Boom. Good morning and happy
Morning.
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Another day, just another day that the Lord. You know what's crazy? I know it's going to be off topic real quick. Somehow on my timeline, I wonder how the algorithms in YouTube works, but I guess if some people in your area are watching something, maybe we see it. But I was watching the ordination service of Bishop Eddie Long from 1994. So that was kind of interesting. And then he didn't speak. Well, on the video, they didn't show him speaking. It looked like it was the whole service. Bishop Jakes was behind him. So,
Wow.
oh yeah. Get ready, Jakes. Yeah. And it's funny, like it's just, none of the other parishioners I didn't know. I thought someone else that has risen, out of, from these groups. It was just Eddie Long, and Bishop Jakes was the only known one. Some of the names kind of look, I was going to look them up, Google them, like those ain't look for me, but thinking 94, anybody that was like 50 or 60, So by now they're really old, like most of the guys are probably in their 40s, 30s, or not 30s. I think most folks look around the 40-ish. But yeah, that was just interesting. It was just interesting.
Just interesting to see, you say?
Yeah. It was like just to see the service. It was, I don't even know how it came on. I wasn't looking up any long or nothing. Like, I don't know how it came up on my timeline. It just came out. I was like, that's interesting. Like Google knows. All right. So let's get into it. Oh, so Jakes did preach his installation. Yeah, it wasn't on that video. It was they cut it, either they cut it short. Cause I was looking, I was like, that's short. I would think, especially back in the day, they knew how to have church. They would have church long, and then an installation of a bishop. Yeah, this service had to be like 7 hours or something. So let's see. All right. Kevin is jumping in already. He said the teacher's responsibility is to perform their job duties, get through approved curriculum, and control their classes. Anything else is of their own choosing and charity. Yes.
Yeah.
From St. Paul Morton was there with the Jerry Curl. They are not responsible for raising our children. Indeed.
He said they're not responsible for raising our children.
They're not responsible for raising our children. I get it. Go ahead, Pastor. It looked like you wanted to. I'm gonna let you get at that.
No, I'm saying they're not responsible for raising our children, but they do participate.
Right. Yeah, definitely. That participation matters. Because they like I said, I sometimes feel like they get a large chunk of our children's life and time. They get a lot of focus time, especially the early years where it's just one class, with one teacher all day. So in the morning, other than most times it's lunch and breakfast, they're still like they go into class and they sit. It's the teachers kind of like watching the children and teaching them, all for a good, all the way to 2:00 sometimes. So that's
it's 7:30, 8 to 3.
Right.
That's a lot of time.
That's a lot. And it's Monday through Friday. And then by the time we see our children, it's homework, downtime, then bedtime.
Yeah.
until the weekend, So it is. So kids, so they have a part in kind of what our kids become. We just have to, I guess, the disciplines, the reinforcing, and preparing is is the main thing. Let's see. Oh, Cheryl said good morning, Pastor.
Morning.
So yeah, it's important. It's important that we know who's around our children.
Yeah.
And what are they teaching our children? Like even the curriculum is what we know, and like we spoke about yesterday, because they're human, they have opinions, they have sides. There's things there's their own personal influences or their own personal thought process, and then big situations happen. Is it their place to share their feeling about certain things, and like I spoke about yesterday, there was such an air at school of anti-Trump, which didn't bother me, but I always think about fair. Yeah, it sounds good now, but if the whole political climate changes, like how would I feel later? Like I don't want y'all talking anti. I'm against something. I'm pro. Like so. It's like I have to either deprogram or prepare my kids for battle. Like, so this is what you say. Like, don't let them say this to you. And it's funny. Like, and you can call me a bad parent. I don't care. Forever. Like I've never told my children there was Santa Claus. Never. There was never a Santa Claus. Yeah. So I was like, no one else gonna get credit for this stuff. So there were times, my kids, someone was like something about Santa Claus, and they were like, they ain't real. Like, no. So there's never been an issue, but they would come home and was like, Dad, why they keep talking about this Santa Claus that ain't real? Like,
well, that to me is it's one of those that falls under the category of to each his own.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I tell them. That's exactly how I teach him. Yeah.
Because we grew up in our early years,
right,
believing there was a Santa Claus.
Right. I did as well.
Until we found out there wasn't.
Right. There you go. Walk across.
So I don't think there was any harm in that. Just like you find out, there was no tooth fairy.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But to me, like that's not the heavyweight stuff to me.
Right. Yeah.
Because the reality is a lot of times people do too much for birthdays.
Yeah.
But I'm biased because, I didn't do the big birthday party thing growing up,
Right.
So it could be what impacts me. I mean, I enjoyed the birthday parties as an adult and all that stuff, but I'm just thinking that to me, that stuff, that's the lint.
Yeah.
Of
right.
life.
Picking the lint. Right.
Yeah. One good blow and it's gone. Right.
Right.
But I do believe that, if you believe in a village concept with the rearing of children, then you must believe that teachers play a critical role. Right. Because teachers should be a part of the makeup of the village.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a time when the teachers came from your community. They were a part of your community, so that they understood, the demographics.
Right.
And then we messed it up. We started shipping our children off to other places because we wanted a better education. You get, you get better academically, but you lose the social.
Right. The social foundation
in your own neighborhood. Yeah, because you didn't speak the same language or the dialect of your neighborhood.
Right.
Which promotes bullying.
Yeah.
And you think you're special because you go to school across the tracks.
Right.
You didn't go to what did Eminem say at 8 Mile?
Yeah.
He went to private school. He went to private school. He lives at home with both of his parents. His first name is Clarence, and his parents have a real good marriage.
Right. Oh man, classic.
That's the stuff that happens, right?
Yes.
But I believe that the role of the teachers is not as critical, but it's close to as critical as the role of the parents,
Right.
because teachers are critical in the development of
Right.
young minds.
Right.
You know,
Right. Yes.
which is why parents should know your teachers, know who's teaching your child.
Yeah.
You know, you should be at the school,
Right.
right?
Right.
You should know who they're dealing with. You know, one of the frustrations I have now is that they are limiting parental access into school. You know, I'm like, I don't know where they do that at. I just don't understand how you can limit a parent can't come into the school and sit in the classroom and watch, you know, their children taught. You know, that stuff is just crazy to me. You can't even get past the front office anymore. And I know that people have been crazy. A lot of things have happened, you know, but man, you have to have a system that is better equipped, because now that they have shut off parental engagement to that extent, our children are having a harder time in the classroom.
Yeah.
Because the parents aren't in real good. I mean, your communication with the teachers now is via email.
Yeah.
Via the Remind application, chat sessions.
Right.
You know, that stuff is crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
Nothing is more jarring or helpful than when you look up and you're like, what my mama doing here? You know, or they looking through it with the little window thing, like, is that? And then, yo, your mom's like, oh, what's she doing here?
But you know what though? It helped.
Yeah, it did.
You know, you mess around and you knew there was a chance you could look up and see your mother, mother's face or your father's face at the door. Man, you're gonna straighten up real quick. You know, and now children cut up because they know their parents can't get to the classroom.
Can't come in. Right.
Yeah.
And then I think it even helps check the teacher a little bit. Like, you know, they can't say crazy stuff because they never know.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying you have children fighting teachers now.
Right.
And so I'm, you know, when you ask the question, who's responsible? The answer is everybody.
Everybody. Right. True.
You know,
true. Yeah. It's yeah. I think, where was I? I think it was here first time. Yeah. Cause I just went to school. I'm gonna go check on them. They're just like, no. Like, what you mean I can't go in, you know, because I think and because of the smaller school, you know, they let you go and roam and you just like, no, I'm like, I got a child. Here's my ID, you know, like what you need, ID, you know, because I get it. But you know, I was like, wow. What's up, Terry? Good morning,
T Little.
Sir. Yeah, it's crazy how it's changed. And like you said, I get the safety factor. I'm cool. That's comforting. But, you know, if I prove that I'm the child, you know, child's father or, you know, the mother, you know, like it should be access. It should be access. Or even some level though, even if it's limited, but I can go to the class, I wear a badge, you know, like something. But it's the no access. It's just, it hurt me for a minute. You know, you have somebody say no, you're just like, I don't know.
My child is in here. Right. You have my child back there. What do you mean? No, I can't come in and my child is back there. Right. It's and in your mind, it's like, okay, where do we go with this? Where do we, you know, like trip out, or do we just take it's a rule? We got to understand it, find a way to get access, you know, like, so well, again, it speaks volumes to the question. Who's responsible?
Right.
You know, how can I put my child? Here's how responsible teachers are.
Right. You're right.
I have to put my child in your care.
Yes.
Between 7 to 9 hours in a day.
Right.
How much can happen in 7 to 9 hours? My child has to eat at least twice.
Right.
Maybe 3 times.
Right.
Right. I know my child is going to have a bowel movement.
Right.
Right. My child is going to urinate.
Right.
You know,
right.
And so if you're averaging 7 to 9 hours a day, you're going to see my child when my child is not feeling well.
Right.
So when you have that much time and exposure to my child,
right,
that makes you highly critical.
Yes.
In the development of my child and in their teaching.
Definitely.
You know, because, you know, truth be told, a teacher in a lot of cases, teachers have more input in a child's life on a daily and on a weekly basis than some parents, because parents work full-time jobs. By the time you get home from work, it's dinner, it's bathing, it's bedtime.
Right.
Right. And unless you have a long weekend, or you're on vacation, summer, who's got all that time?
Right.
The teachers, the school.
Yeah. Definitely.
So you don't have any accountability that comes with that? Any responsibility that comes with that? Absolutely, you do. Now it's up to the parents to make sure that the checks and balances are there, because ultimately it's your child.
Yes.
It's on you.
Yep.
But to say that it's, and I tell my family that all the time, this house, pass or fail, it's going to be on me.
Right.
We do great, you guys get credit. We do bad, it's going to be on me.
Right.
And thank God, lady, she got on here just in time for me to start talking mess. They know this. I say this. It's on my shoulders.
Right.
No one wants to trade places with the head of house.
Right.
Definitely. And so it's ultimately on the parents to ensure that your child is raised properly and constructively.
Right.
Yes, I know my mother believes in access to the classroom. She is a teacher.
Yes.
She's retired, but she's a former teacher, taught over 40 years. And so, and what's funny, she's an old school teacher.
Right.
So if she did not see your parents in the classroom, the parents would be in trouble.
Right.
How come I don't see you? Where are you? How can you? My mother was like that. How can you release your child to me all this and I never see your face?
Right.
Don't you care what your child is doing when they get up into this school?
Right.
Now I understand why your child is a knucklehead, a roundhead. Well, sit your roundhead self down. Come here, knucklehead.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So it's so it is a village concept. It's a village mentality, but ultimately the responsibility is on the parents. You need to know whose hands you put your children into.
Right. Yes. That right there. That's the crux of it. Had some situations before with a teacher and my son, and it's like we almost got into it with the teacher, and we had to ultimately move because it was like, I don't feel like you're gonna treat my child right, because now we got issue. So now you gotta, I don't want your feelings, of us spilling on him. So ultimately, we had to move him out of the class. But we're gonna kind of switch up the conversation. I got Ephraim hanging in the wings. I think hopefully he didn't freeze on me. We'll be right back after this. This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. Ready to go live? Go to bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. That's bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. This episode is also brought to you by Self. Build credit now. Go to bit.ly/now build credit. bit.ly/now build credit. All right, we're back. Okay, there you go. You doubled up on me. All right, let's get it. All right. What up, Ephraim?
What's going on, bro?
Everything's good. Sure. Everything is good.
How you doing, Pete?
How you doing, man?
Sitting on top of the world.
I love that.
Yes, sir.
So E, you got smaller children. What grade are they in?
5th, and the baby girl starting kindergarten this year.
Nice. What's that? So for you, what's that transition been like with the teachers, or them getting used to not being home, because the kindergarten especially, they're just transitioning to that first level of responsibility of handling themselves by themselves.
I actually had to take my baby girl to, I've never heard of it before, but kindergarten boot camp. So and I done gone to school so much on YouTube, it ain't funny, man. Shout out to Miss Monica in New York for putting out them videos.
Right.
But so getting them ready to get back into the class, is something that a lot of people are focusing on, because we just come at a funny time like this pandemic. So you know, and then these teachers lists got more PPE stuff on it than ever before. You know what I'm saying? Folders and pencils. It's a new day. So getting them ready just to get back into society, forget school by itself. You know what I'm saying? It's like a whole new thing, you know. So, and I thought kids was diseased before. So, you know, just keeping them healthy and safe is like a new thing to worry about.
Right.
I have a new appreciation for open house. You know, getting to know some of these teachers, getting to see some faces.
Yes.
You know, it's like an opportunity to get re-engaged.
Right.
Whereas before it was kind of like, you know, go there, don't mess with my baby, you know, send her back home.
Right.
And now it's like real. What y'all teaching? What y'all talking about? What we doing? When they going? Washing hands. We got like it's super involved. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just different because the world is different now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think so much has changed. You know, just and because we're going through that, we're kind of like in between because now they're having another school system or another company kind of handling the remote. If you still don't want your child to go into school, now they got someone else handling that. And I'm like, I want them to go back. I'm ready for them to go back, but it's just like you sit there like, should I put my child part of the first wave of people going back, or should I wait until after January? You know, when they figure this thing out. You know, the first set of kids going back. So I think
talking with my oldest, she's nervous about going back.
Okay.
Because the old normal is now weird. Being back face to face with classmates and teachers is now a weird thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like getting her back to what the old normal used to be has been a transition, you know. So my wife,
it's a new norm now. It's there's no such thing as old. We're not going back to anything. We're moving forward to something new.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And even with work, you know, trying to figure out, you know, so the wife's going to be working half at the job, half at home. Right. How do we take advantage of those days? You know what I'm saying? Right. Do I save a little change on after school care? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, or does she need time? Because she has had them home with her the entire time. So ready for them to go back is an understatement. And it just showed me, like, you know, I don't want to be at work all the time, but I didn't want to be at home all the time either. You know, like pandemic coming out, I have an appreciation for balance. And you know, and I ain't gonna, you know,
Sam.
I love the Lord, but like you know, I go to a lot of services, you know what I'm saying? And I'm usually opening them up and shutting them down. So I caught a little break, but like I said, I don't want to miss all the church. You know what I'm saying? But it kind of showed me that I can't be there 24/7 either. Like, you know, the proper break, you know, just a balance of schedule has been important. So trying to bring that into the school is vitally important. So these teachers got their hands full, but whatever they want, baby goat milk, pencil, notebook, I give them whatever, man. They got to take the kids, man. If they stress the wife out, then that's gonna lean on me. So I need them to be there, but like we got to be involved. I feel we give the foundation. Yeah. But if the question is about educating the child, I put that on the educators.
Right.
I want to send my child to school well behaved, disciplined, give them a bath, feed them.
Right.
But all that I'm doing on my end is preparing them to receive information. Like, but I'm setting them up. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm serving them up. But you got to educate them when you get there. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because like I don't possess I think teaching is a gift. You know, and I don't have the patience to teach, especially young kids or whatever. So like, and breaking it down the way that they get it, like that, I don't know if that's my gift. So I expect the teacher to educate, you know what I mean? Not like raise, I don't know, maybe we define a raise a little different, but I don't know if it's something to raise, but I think like what Pastor was saying earlier, to deny that the teacher has an influence on my child would be crazy. Like, you know, I still remember some of my first grade teachers. You know? So one of my earlier instructors was on one of my teachers. So like, you know, they have an impact.
Right. Well, that's the thing. It's like, if you don't remember, then I question the capability of the teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, how do you not remember the people that had that foundational input, that imprint on your life?
Right.
You know?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
My kids talk about some of their old teachers, you know.
Yeah, because it's the first time they experience something outside of their parents.
Yes. Yes.
That's a paradigm shift,
right,
in the life of a child.
Right.
So how do you not remember that?
Right.
You know, and I'm saying at a minimum, you should have snippets,
right,
of experiences that you remember. You know, I remember, you know, being on stage in my blue suit, my Christmas suit, you know, right. I remember the ice cream. So, you know, the ice cream social, you know, right. It just, you have these memories, these pockets of memories. You're not supposed to remember everything, but you should remember the paradigm shifts in your life. Right. You know,
I know I hated dressing up because standing on stage, my feet were hurt. My shirt was tight. His pants was tight. I hated dressing up. Let's see. Lady McCoy says, I strongly believe it's up to the parents to teach their children in their early years at home. I was blessed to be able to stay at home with our daughters for the first 4 to 5 years. I homeschooled and worked with our daughters in their early years. Then my mother-in-law helped out and homeschooled our girls for 1 year when I went back into the workforce. She also said, we prepared our daughters at home first before sending them to school. Parents have to make sure they send their children to school with good manners, good behavior. Yes, the teacher responsibility is to help educate your children, not raise your children. True. And true. I think that it's a reinforcement of the raising, of what you've already placed in your children and reinforcing, you know, the continued behavior, good behavior.
Yeah, I mean, you know, their experience at school shouldn't be a shock to their system.
Right. Yes.
You know, don't expect the teachers to do anything for your children that you aren't doing for them at home.
Right.
You know, you have to set the standard. You have to prepare the mindset of your children to what the dynamics will be when they go out into the school. You know, the social aspect of it, the academic aspect of it, you know, the emotional aspect, all of that plays a role, you know, which is why it's important for you to have a constructive environment for your children at home. Right. You know, that's what I love about being in ministry, you know, because your children learn how to behave if they go to Sunday school.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If they participate in children's church,
you
know, all that stuff, it reinforces their ability to sit still and pay attention and all of that. And I'm not saying, you know, a lot of people get frustrated with the structure and why do you have to tell your child to sit still? At some point, they're going to have to sit down and be still and listen to something. You know?
And you can get a lot of that from the church. And even when we go to the church, it falls on back home. You got to have I send them to church, pastor going to tell them about Jesus, but he don't have the time to sit there telling them about Jesus and raise them. So like, you know, I gotta structure them at home, so that they know how to act when they go to these places. Like when I used to get in trouble, some of the opening lines was mostly like, now you know better. I taught you how to act. You know what I'm saying? Like you're doing something contrary to what you got brought up with. You know what I'm saying? So, but they couldn't say that if they didn't have, you know, if it wasn't happening at home. You know what I'm saying? Training, home training is real.
Right.
Well, you know, and you go outside, and what do other adults tell you? Other adults will say, "Do you do that at home?"
Right. Yeah. Some of the stuff I thought was cliches, but it was real principles. It was real talk. It was like, no, legit. It was a question. Like, do you do that at your house? Like, no. Well, then put your feet down off my sofa. Like, like, my brother, not to call out my brother, but like, like when he was raising my nephew, nephew would like cut up what my sister done when he went gone, and my brother kind of, in my opinion, he was coming home bragging like, "Oh, he do that with y'all. He wouldn't do that with me." I'm like, bro, that's not really a good sign. Like if he didn't, I wish he would have cut up more with you than with them. Like if he was like, if you really had this stump of authority that you think you got, he wouldn't act a fool nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like I was scared of my daddy, even when my dad was miles away. He would work in DC, and I just had this feeling like he can come up at any time and get some.
We just talked about that, AD.
Yes. Yep.
So like Yeah, they show up, man. Like my daddy got my principal straight. My principal told my daddy, he told me that my daddy don't run that school. You know what I'm saying? I went and told my dad that principal ain't talked to me since, man. So like at first I'm like, oh, I got the principal in trouble, man. I'm the man. And then I'm like, no, wait a minute. Can my daddy really get some straightening no matter where I'm at? You know what I'm saying? And it scared me, man. It scared me. Nice. So it's the home training is so critical. And whether you do it on purpose or not, like you showing your kid, like you're giving them the foundation. Like Lady McCoy was talking about, like 4 to 5, man. I'm formative years, man. Kids are sponges at that time.
Right.
So like you said, I believe you can't do nothing with a child after 7. They mind made up. You know what I'm saying? Anything you do after that, you know, it's cool, I guess. But like they have their worldview by 7, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So
they already know. They already know. Like this is how the world is, right?
That's they got it all figured out about it. So you know, the formative years are important, but like whether it's church, you know, you got it's home training. You know, even as a church body, you know, if you come to a larger denominational setting, you know, you should have had some home training at your church. You know what I'm saying? Like I deal with a lot of protocol, and I look at people sometimes. Like, you don't got no home training. Do you do that at your home church? If you do, it's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's my home training.
Yeah, definitely. Mr. Vaughn said, yes, I was blessed to send my twins to private Catholic school until the 8th grade year. Lady McCoy also said, parents have to be involved in their children's education. We should not expect teachers to do what we are not able to do with our children at home. Okay. That's good. And parents have to be involved, get to know teachers, communicate with teachers as much as possible. Remember, it's your child's education. The teacher is there to teach them, establish a follow-up system with the teacher. Yeah, definitely. It's every year it's okay, how are we gonna communicate thing? And like my son, we have to really stay connected to our teachers. You know, it's like some years, like we find out later, like, yeah, your child doing. It's like, we here. I've been calling, emailing, something. Like, can we mitigate the first 2 times he did this, so I can snatch him up at home and get it straight, you know, so we can be good for the rest of the rest. It's like a pattern. Like, okay, how did this week go? How does we go?
Right. It starts off as one of those little sidewalk poppers. You throw it on the ground and it pops.
Right.
Yeah. Let's get it at that level. Don't wait till it's a nuclear blast.
Right.
You know, to call me and then tell me how jacked up my child is.
Right. You know. Right. Yeah. Listen, like I always tell the story about what was it, like 2nd, 3rd grade, and he was in a math class, and the teachers sat us down and she showed us like some papers, and he was like, he's struggling. And they was showing me and my wife, and I'm looking like, our son knows how to do this. You know, like, and you know, the teacher got the concerned face, like maybe he's having like some educational struggles. And you know, we're trying to like, maybe. And then we slip him the papers, boy, if you don't do this math, and he started doing it, she looking, I was like, yeah, he knows this. Don't let him play you. Like, he knows what he's doing. So yeah, it's important.
Well, children are going to do what you allow them to, what they're going to take as much as you will give them. You know.
Yes, indeed.
And you have to make the decision not on my watch.
Right. Right.
Which comes from like you saying, like the follow up, knowing, you know, if we have a relationship, and you know what my child's capable of. Right. We've discussed it, we've talked about it, but that's it. Like you know when they playing now, like because we've talked about this, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But they can play one side against another.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because listen, they do it with the parents at home.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh man.
But God help you if your parents have a relationship with the teachers.
Oh man.
Right.
Look, we got the kind of household where we'd have a conversation with the teacher prior to having a conversation with the child.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to see what the child's gonna say. Right.
Right.
Our teachers will call your parents like in class. That's what I came up in. They'll call you right on the spot. And if you had to call my mom,
I had that happen to me. I was in Catholic school and I got in trouble went to the principal's office. Our principal was a nun, Sister Johanna Murphy. Never forget. And she called my mom from the school. And I'm starting to shiver now. She's explaining to my mother what happened. You know, my mother's all polite and everything. I can hear all right, thank you, Sister Murphy. I really appreciate you calling me. Is it possible to speak with my son? You know, you hear your mother wants to speak to you.
Right,
you know?
right.
And like, you pick up the phone and I listen on everything that I love. This is exactly, I remember this like it happened this morning. My loving mother.
Yeah.
Mother McCrory that y'all talk to all the time. We get on here, nice job, guys. Great.
Good people.
This woman said these words, and I quote, "You know your ass is grass when you get home."
That's it. Tears.
Click.
Tears.
And then she just hung up. Now, it's like 12:30.
Right.
Now I got to think about this whooping all the way to 3:00.
Right. Right.
And we took a taxi to school. I missed the taxi going home. I walked home that day.
I know that's right. I know that's right. The long way. I'm going the longest way. She
never had any intention on whipping me. She just wanted to put the fear of God in me. She wanted to make me think about.
I'm crying all the way home.
Yeah, and I got to get home, and you get home and you try to get in quietly, go to your room. You know, your stomach is in knots. You don't even want to eat. You got to use the bathroom.
I'm good off all that.
You go do all of that, right? And then it's like, and she knows that all this stuff is going on,
right?
So she doesn't say anything to you. You know, we're upstairs, she's downstairs, and you get nothing,
right?
And so all you're waiting for is the next time she calls your name, because you figure one or two things gonna happen. My mother used to have these slippers that had, the plastic bottom, the slippers with the white plastic bottom.
Yep.
And we had wooden floors, hardwood floors in the house, so you could hear her
sliding
coming up the stairs.
Right.
So you were either going to hear her call your name,
right,
or you're going to hear the slippers on the stairs, and you're in your room and you're just waiting to see what's going to happen first. And I'm saying that, like, that's the environment that we grew up in. It's like you did not play at school. The one place you did not mess around was at school. And especially with my mother being a teacher, and not just a teacher, being in early childhood education, she taught us how to behave in school. So if you got in trouble in school, man, I remember my first experience in public school, and I got in trouble. I back in the day when I was in like seventh grade, I think.
Right.
Girls started wearing bras.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
And boys would run up behind the girls and pop the bra strap. Right. And I did that right outside the dean's office.
Very good. Very good.
And got caught.
All right.
And they said, we're gonna call your mother. And I'm like, look, man, just give me a swat.
I think an L here.
Just hit me, and I had track pants on, look thin.
I think I just take my
you
L
don't
right
feel
here.
all that.
Right. Just hit me, man. Just hit me. And I'm saying, but again, that's how serious it was. Now the school is responsible, but parents have to be engaged.
Right.
And my mother was engaged enough to where, you did not want to get in trouble at school because you knew she was coming.
Right. Right.
Because the engagement, it showed care, and you just didn't want to let them down, and it's a lot of coaches and deacons. I mean, whoever you want to put in your life, like when they show, and it wasn't always the whooping. You know what I'm saying? I had a few community people that they had the green light to whoop me, but I'm saying, like, it was more about this person has shown me that they care, and these actions will let this person down. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you could disappoint a coach if you skipping practice and he roll up and see you smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? What is you doing? You know what I'm saying? So he wouldn't whoop you, but you knew he cared, and you knew this didn't match with what they cared with. So even sometimes those shaking their heads or hanging their heads down, So, you know, we had coaches that would just ride around the city picking up folk who should have been to practice, you know.
Yes.
So that don't happen that often anymore. But like,
right,
man, you burning your gas, showing that you can. I didn't even appreciate that then, but like, you know,
right,
you burning gas and just picking up people who
that.
you know probably gonna do this again tomorrow.
I remember
like,
that.
People care. They show they care. You don't want to let them down.
Right.
But I don't know what you listen. I wish you would have got caught smoking weed in front of a coach when I was growing up. Man, there's just I can't even like I'm thinking about the coaches, you know, Coach Rocket and all these guys. Right. You know, you couldn't even, because you know back then, you know, in the late 70s and the early 80s, you know, teachers would knock you upside your head because they lived in your community.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. They knew your mother. They knew your father. You know, they hung out at the same nightclub.
Right.
They went to the same churches. Right. You know, so you couldn't get away with that stuff. And now, you know, today you don't even know your teacher. The teachers don't live in your communities.
No,
you know,
it's neighbors.
Yeah, I think that's what we missed too. Like the more community connection with those that are educating our children. It's so it's so distant now. It's so distant. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how that can be fixed. So, you know, like it's just we're so, I don't even know, maybe if we need more schools. I don't even know. Man. Just
cash, bring like go back to the hood.
Right.
Keep the cash there. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it don't even got to be your hood, but a hood. Go there, fix it up, keep the money there, offer jobs, offer opportunity. Because if I'm a teacher, let's say I'm a police officer.
Right.
I would love, because they too used to live in the neighborhood that they would police the neighborhood they lived in. So, you know, and they had a little bit more care because they didn't want to see their neighborhood go down because they lived there. You know what I'm saying? Right. So if I can get back to that and have opportunity and jobs there, then it's great. But when you start stripping all the jobs, all the money out the hood, now, you know, I got to go to the suburbs just to make a living. You know what I'm saying? Like you might be a little challenging. So I think that's just I think that's money, man, economics. So you put the money back. If you look at the old churches, ride by and see old churches. I like looking at houses in churches. You notice how small the parking lot is. The churches be huge, but it's a small parking lot because they built them for the pastor, maybe the pastor wife, and like 3 deacons. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody lived in the community. You could just walk to it. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it got the community part was we were together. I'm not saying it wasn't crazy then, but I'm saying we were together, centralized focus. Everybody's trying to protect it because all of us are involved in this.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's interesting. Just the teacher, you know, student, because I mean, when I grew up, you know, they did live in the town. Like I remember one of the teachers, like in my elementary school, used to walk to work, and you would see her, and she had this thing. She said she I think made over $100 picking up pennies. I remember her telling that story, like just on the way from home to work, you know, because she talked about people throwing out pennies like it don't matter, and she said, you know, I pick them up. And I think it's important what we have, you know, and that is so right, Lady McCory. Staying engaged, stay connected, and stay prayed up. It's just stay connected, man. Just stay connected. Stay connected. It's very important because you're right. We're not all the same community any longer. You know, we are so separate. We're kind of spread out, and you know, people. If someone's looking for a job, you go as far as you can go. So you know, like I'm gonna go all the way to Hampton. You know, I go 45 minutes for a job. You know, like so I'm not really connected in this community. I won't see you guys unless I'm in the school or in the grocery store. Maybe, you know, if I'm going home. But outside of that, I'm not connected to everything that's happening in the local area, and that's changed a lot. So it's staying connected, having a conversation with your teacher, and just kind of being mindful, and it's funny, AD, like with the technology, you think we'd be more connected, right?
You know what I'm saying? I can be in a class setting with somebody in Southwest Asia, right? You know what I'm saying? But like the technology is there, but like I guess the structure isn't there. So I believe there's more community. You can still have community, but it's just a little different. Like I think this is a community. We all connected, but kind of that old school. I see you at school, I see you at church, and I see you over there at the grocery store. That's a little like, I don't know. That's a passing moment. You know what I'm saying? But we definitely still be connected. But like that kind of community, I just don't know if it's built like that anymore.
Right. Yeah, I think it's what they always say, we're a global community now,
Yeah.
We're interconnected. Sure. So I think we just got to take advantage, and the communication is a must. That it's like every year we always gotta tighten up communication with our teachers. Like, and I tell, both our kids, like, I don't care if it's something that you feel like is out of your hand or whatever they do, just call us.
Yeah.
We'll take care of that. We'll straighten it out. We'll come up with whatever you need. Just call us. Just call us, because they already know, like, my son has cried many a times, like, I'm calling right now. And you hear him in the back, like, put my son on the phone. Put him on the phone. Oh, don't cry now. Don't cry now.
Yeah.
You should have known better.
Crying when you was cutting up.
Yeah. It's the stuff I say to my kids that make me feel old. Like, it's like I feel like I'm on like a rinse and repeat. Like,
yes,
like,
it all makes sense now. It all makes sense.
No, you hear your parents.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that's funny. Or
oh man, that's
hilarious. The golden phrase is, "You're gonna be glad that I did this."
Yeah.
When you get older.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Or mark this day. You're gonna remember this conversation.
Yeah.
Just keep on living.
Just keep on living, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna remember this conversation. You're gonna thank me later.
They hit us with the I rather cry now. I rather you cry now than me cry later.
Yeah.
Like, hey, bro, how can I fight that? That's how they do
and the last one, when the kids that come over your house, I know your mama. I know she wouldn't let you do that.
No, she wouldn't let you, man.
She wouldn't let you do that.
When we were coming up, the big thing was that adults didn't lie back in the 80s. But like, it was like, so like you plead your case because I tried my hardest, you know what I'm saying, with my child education. I tried to get up out of this, but like the clothesline would be so your mama lying. Also, Miss Fox lying. Wait, you know what I'm saying? Like, dang, I ain't saying she lying. Like, it was because if I say she lying, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I just think she interpreted the story wrong. Okay. Good.
Oh man, not that one. You just so you're saying he lying.
There's no way to fight that.
I'm just saying.
Adults did not lie.
I'm just saying. All right, guys, we're gonna get ready to get out of here. I appreciate you guys rocking and hanging with us. First time here, give us a shout, say what's up, give us your name, your real name, if you can, if you like. Right, it takes a village to teach a child today. Community, always. Let's see. What is Richard said? Global community, many functional and dysfunctional, some parts not so good, but always hope, promise, and possibility to improve further. Yes, indeed. All right. If you've not joined our text community, make sure you do so. Join our community. Text LWN to 84576. Text LWN to 84576. As always, we appreciate you guys rocking and hanging with us as we continue to grow and push forward. If you're feeling led to just give a little bit or a lot of it, if you want to do so, be sure to do so. Where is it at? There we go. I don't put up a lot. There we go. Help us build and increase our impact. Cash App $BOL 2019. Cash App $BOL 2019. Help us continue to push this message forward and do some great work. All right. Appreciate you, Mama Corey. Let's see. Rich said I just stare, grunt, and walk over. Yes, indeed. All right, guys. So be here tomorrow as we continue this conversation. As always, I like to twist it just a little bit more going into Thursday. So join our community. You'll find out what we're talking about tomorrow early. All right. So as I always like to say, we love you, but God loves you more. Continue to stay safe. And doctor, always do the right thing. See you guys in the morning. Later.
didn't want to catch that. Morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody?
This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. Ready to go live? Go to bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. That's bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. This episode is also brought to you by Self. Build credit now. Go to bit.ly/now build credit. bit.ly/now build